You're holding a newborn. It can't walk. It can't feed itself. It can't hold up its own head. It can't even keep itself warm. It can't roll over. It can't tell you what's wrong. It just cries. And it will need years of this. Now take the hospital away. Take away the formula and the bottles. Take away every doctor within 100 miles. Take away every parenting book ever written. This was every human birth for almost all of history. And somehow, every one of those babies survived. Long enough for you to end up here. So we have a genuine problem to explain. Be honest. Could you have survived your own first year alone? No, none of us could. Not even close. Now compare us to almost any other animal. A baby giraffe stands within an hour of birth. Within a day, it can already run. A wildebeest calf outruns lions within minutes. A human baby, after a whole year, maybe sits up. We are, evolutionarily speaking, a bit of a disaster. Look at that gap. So we have to explain why we arrive so unfinished. In 1960, an anthropologist named Sherwood Washburn named the problem. He called it the obstetrical dilemma. The setup goes back millions of years. Our ancestors walked upright long before the big brains. Lucy walked on two legs over 3 million years ago. Walking reshaped the pelvis. It got narrow. Then, in our genus, the brain roughly tripled in size. A narrow pelvis. A tripling brain. Something had to give. Evolution's fix was blunt. Push the baby out early. A human newborn's brain is 28% of adult size. 28%. A chimpanzee is born at 43%. So a human baby is basically an unfinished fetus. To match a newborn chimp, you'd stay pregnant far longer. Some estimates say 18 to 21 months. We are all born about a year too early. Think about what that actually means. A creature that should still be inside the womb, out in the open world, needing absolutely everything. And that giant brain is wildly expensive to run. In an adult, it burns about 1/5 of all calories. In a newborn, it eats an even bigger share. So the baby has to be fed constantly for years. No single tired parent can supply all of that. And human childhood drags on longer than any other animals. 10, 15, even 20 years of needing help. No other ape stretches out childhood like we do. Now, plenty of researchers push back on this story. Some blame the mother's metabolism, not the narrow pelvis. The honest answer is the debate is not settled. But the outcome, nobody argues with. Human babies arrive helpless every single time. And there is one more twist most people miss. That big head has to twist and rotate on the way out. It makes human birth uniquely hard and dangerous. We are among the only mammals that need help giving birth. So cooperation didn't begin when we raised the child. It began the second the baby arrived. But the baby is not just a helpless victim here. Human babies come with their own survival toolkit. They are born fat, by mammal standards, round and soft. That fat is fuel for the hungry brain, and they are almost engineered to be adorable. Big eyes, round cheeks, a face that pulls you in. At about 6 weeks, a baby starts to smile at faces. That smile is not random. It is recruitment. A baby that charms more adults gets more care. Cuteness, it turns out, helps a baby survive. This is where the anthropologist Sarah Hrdy comes in. In her 2009 book, Mothers and Others, she made a radical claim. Humans are what biologists call cooperative breeders. Mothers were never meant to do this alone. Extra caregivers, called alloparents, always shared the work. Grandmothers, aunts, older siblings, and even unrelated women in camp. A lot of the caregiving fell to other children. Older kids raising younger ones is nearly universal. A 6-year-old with a baby on her hip. For most of history, that was just an ordinary day. And here is what really breaks the solo parent math. A chimp mother nurses one baby for 4 or 5 years. She has the next, only when the first can keep up. Human mothers never waited that long. We wean earlier and have the next baby sooner. So a human mother piles up dependents all at once. A newborn, a toddler, a 5-year-old. At the same time, no solo-weight mother on Earth ever does that. If you have kids, you already know this chaos. It only works if others feed the older kids. The whole trick comes down to shared provisioning. And when the help failed, the cost was brutal. In many of these societies, the odds were grim. Close to half of all children died before growing up. A baby was the most fragile thing the group had. Every extra pair of hands tilted those odds. A grandmother, an aunt, a watchful neighbor, each one saved lives. We can even put hard numbers on it. In the Ituri forest live a people called the Ife. A researcher named Ivy counted who holds each baby. On average, 14 different people. 14. The baby changes arms about 8 times an hour. Its own mother holds it under half the time. Other women even breastfeed it when she is away. Shared nursing was normal, not strange. Picture 14 people you would trust with your child. Most of us today cannot name even 3. That gap is new. Our ancestors had a whole camp, and it was never only the women doing this. Among the Aka, Barry Hewlett tracked the fathers. Fathers stayed within arm's reach of their babies half the day, 47%. That is not a modern parenting trend. It is ancient. This is not ancient history. This is you last week. Sound familiar? It should. The daycare drop-off, the grandparent on a video call, the friend who takes your kids for an afternoon, a survival system, 2 million years old, in new clothes. You can watch this same system running today. In northern Tanzania lived the Hadza, one of the last hunter-gatherer peoples on Earth. Crittenden and Marlowe studied who holds Hadza babies. The answer was almost everyone in camp. Women swap childcare back and forth all day. One stays with the kids, others forage and share the food back. A Hadza toddler passes through many hands in a single day. No single mother handles the whole thing alone. You call it a babysitter. They called it staying alive, and one helper mattered more than all the rest: grandmother. In the 1980s, Kristen Hawkes watched Hadza grandmothers dig tubers. Hard, all day, harder than the young mothers. Then she noticed something strange in the numbers. When a mother had a new baby, her older child still grew. But now that growth tracked grandmother's work, not the mother's. Grandmother fed the older kids, so mom could focus on the newborn. Hawkes called it the grandmother hypothesis. Here's the strange part. Human women live for decades after they stop having children. Almost no other animal on Earth does that. There has to be a reason to keep that body running. There is. It keeps the grandchildren alive. And grandmothers brought more than an extra pair of hands. They carried decades of hard-won survival knowledge. Which plants are safe? Where water hides in a drought? In a bad year, that memory kept whole families alive. Now you may have heard grandmothers boost survival by 50%. Be careful with that number. The real studies are smaller and more interesting. Rebecca Sear and Ruth Mace read decades of Gambian records. Of every relative they checked, one stood out: the mother's mother, the maternal grandmother. The father's mother often made no measurable difference. And there is a plain reason it is the mother's mother. She is completely certain the child carries her genes. The father's mother can never be quite that sure. Evolution favors the safer genetic link. One Ethiopian study found a reachable grandmother raised survival about a quarter, 25%. That is a family line continuing, instead of ending. And raising babies this way changed us on the inside. A baby passed between 14 hands has to read them all. Whose face is kind? Who is about to put me down? So human babies became expert face readers early. Hurdy thinks this is where our empathy comes from. We learned to track what others feel because we had to. Cooperative breeding may have built the cooperative mind. This is the part that gets me. So step back for a second. The thing that saved us also shaped who we are. We did not survive because mothers were tough. We survived because mothers were never left alone. The help was not a bonus. It was the whole design. Yeah, it takes a village. That is not a sweet proverb. It is biology. And all of it points back to one culprit. 2 million years ago, in genus Homo, the brain grew fast. That single change forced everything else. Bigger brains meant earlier, more helpless babies. Helpless babies meant no mother could cope alone. So the survivors were the ones who cooperated, the ones whose grandmothers stayed, whose neighbors pitched in. Being deeply social stopped being a personality trait. It became the price of admission. So here's the real answer to how we survived. Not tougher mothers. A whole cooperating group. Let that sit for a second. Every one of your ancestors beat those odds. Every ancestor you have, going back 2 million years. Everyone was kept alive by more than 2 hands. Not one of them raised themselves. Not one did it alone. The chain only had to break a single time for you to never exist at all. It never broke. And this teamwork did more than keep babies alive. It let humans raise many children close together. It helped us spread into every corner of the planet. A fragile baby became our greatest advantage. 2 million years of hands, holding on. Not one link failed, all the way down to you. Now look at how we raise children today. Often 2 parents, often just one, far from family. Our biology still expects a whole crowd of helpers. Today it hands one parent an empty room. No wonder so many new parents feel overwhelmed. You were never built to do this alone. The village is gone. You were never the problem. If parenting feels impossibly hard, that is the reason. You are doing a job built for a whole group. So think back to your own first years. You don't remember them. You couldn't have survived them alone. Someone fed you at 3 in the morning. Someone caught the fever before it turned bad. Someone carried you when your legs were useless. Someone stayed awake so that you could sleep. When your mom helps with your kid, that isn't just kindness. She is performing a function 2 million years old. Maybe thank her, or thank whoever it was for you, a grandmother, an aunt, a neighbor history never named. Think of the ones at the very start of your line. We don't have their names. We never will. But we have the proof that they existed. We are it. Come back to where we started. That newborn you were holding at the start. That was you, once. Completely helpless. Kept alive anyway. Someone, somewhere, chose to keep you going. And most of them never expected any thanks. So here's my question for you. Who kept you alive when you couldn't do it yourself? Be honest, take a moment and really sit with it. Then drop that name in the comments below. I read every single one.